This is Jorge Ganoza, CEO of Fortuna Silver Mines. They're a mid-tier gold and silver producer. Jorge has mines in Mexico, Argentina, Peru, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and an exciting new advanced stage exploration project in Senegal. Jorge, welcome to Ron's Basement.
No, Ron, a pleasure to join you once again in the basement.
Well, we were talking before we jumped on here about the overall state of the gold and silver market, and in particular the precious metals mining sector. I view your company as being positioned for some real strategic growth as we head into the next 5 to 10 years. Strong management. Can you bring us up to speed on, in particular, what's going on at Fortuna currently?
Yes, we are at a very exciting junction in our company, Ron. For the past 2.5 years, we've been investing in the future of the company through our expansion to West Africa, right? Mm-hmm. That expansion has been controversial, no? But we have successfully proven we could integrate the West African business in a portfolio, and we have just completed a successful capital project, the construction of our fifth and flagship asset, the Séguéla mine, on time and on budget. And Séguéla is operating, running on full cylinders. I just came from the inauguration of the Séguéla mine. We put out a news release last week on that. And we also, in early September, published a news release indicating that the performance test of the mine was completed in August, and the mine is operating, not only meeting but exceeding design parameters, right? Yeah. So what's so exciting? Well, after 2.5 years of hard work, it is this third quarter of 2023 when we're going to come out and show the renewed strength of our business. Séguéla is a flagship asset. Séguéla will be contributing around 40% of our free cash flow. Séguéla will boost production in the second half of the year compared to what we delivered in the first half. In the second half of the year, Séguéla will boost our gold production by 45%. Will help boost revenue, but more importantly, boost margins. The Séguéla mine is the lowest cost producer in our portfolio. The all-in sustaining cost at that mine is around $1,000 per ounce. All right. Wow. So we're looking at the third quarter with a lot of anticipation, mm-hmm. and it's pivotal for us. I think it is, and I would even say a new Fortuna, showing the strength of the business, renewed strength of the business, moving forward, starting this third quarter of 2023. In the first half of the year, we delivered about 124,000 ounces of gold and some 3 million ounces of silver. So from that base of production, again, in the second half of the year, we're going to put on top of those 124,000 ounces we delivered in the first half, we're going to put additional 60 to 75,000 ounces of gold, right? That's what we have guided in our public disclosures, and we're tracking well to meet guidance. So we're quite excited, really.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, during the first 6 months, you didn't have any attributable production from Séguéla in the numbers for the first 6 months. And I think, if I have this correct, and I'll let you speak to this, in one of your more recent press releases, you did give a little bit of a sneak peek in terms of, I think it was maybe July and August production numbers from Seguela. And to me, they looked very optimistic.
Yeah.
If you're looking to buy gold, silver, or platinum, do yourself a favor and check out Pimbex, the online precious metals bullion dealer and sponsor of Ron's Basement. I was a happy customer before they offered to support the channel. You'll find they have the best prices, quality, and service. I think Pimbex is best, and you will too. And be sure to tell them that you're from Ron's Basement.
Yes, in early September, we put out a news release sharing with the market that the performance test carried out in October, sorry, in October, carried out in August was completed successfully, and the processing plant was not only meeting but exceeding design capacity by 10 to 15%. And we also provided production figures for the month of June, which were 4,000 ounces. In July, we increased production by 50%. So in July, we delivered 6,000 ounces. And then in August, we increased production again by almost 100%. We delivered 11,600 ounces in August. So, in these 3 months, initial 3 months of ramp up, we increased production by 50%. We doubled production the following month. And I can advance to you that September is looking even better, no?
Wow.
We're looking forward to reporting these numbers. So with respect to our news flow, in early October, so sometime late next week, we are going to be putting out a news release with the production figures for the quarter. But as you said, I already gave everybody a sneak peek into how the quarter is going to look in terms of ounces. I already gave you, June, July, August. Yeah, so really 2 months of the quarter, July and August. I already pre-released. So, I'll pre-release like we usually do. We traditionally do that. Been doing that for a number of years. So, no, with that, the next release should be financial results, which will be published around mid-November, no, around the 9th of November.
Wow. Yeah, I find it interesting with all the challenges that many other companies have faced in the last, let's say, 3 to 4 years with building mines, that you announced a construction decision on Seguela 2 years ago, and that
exactly 2 years ago. The construction decision on Seguela was made on September 2021.
And it came in obviously on time, on budget, and every indication that we have now is that it's up to a very solid operational level. I guess everybody's wondering, Jorge, how do you do this? Or how does your team do this? Because I know you're always quick to point out that there's a lot more people behind this than just yourself. But
I attribute the success of that build to a few key aspects. No, first is proper planning. No, or we had a robust not only strategy for the construction of Seguela, but also a solid plan in place. We took time to really capture the inflationary environment we were in, and make sure really that we were factoring in all those inflationary pressures in our budget, so we can plan to meet all of that financially in the construction capex, right? So first, good planning. Second, good construction partners or selection of engineering firms, contractors, was good. So, a mining construction in a remote location is always a challenge, and having strong partners is key, and we had that. And last but not least, a robust team as well, right? Our construction team had the right leadership, the right mix of experience, a team that has worked successfully together in the past. Um, so, good planning, good partners, and a good owners team
Yep.
have been, what I would highlight as the keys to success here. No, easier said than done.
Mhm. Right, yeah, right. Well, and I'm thinking as well, I think sometimes there's a bias against when investors hear Africa or West Africa, they kind of shy away from a jurisdictional perspective. And what I'm thinking is, what does this say about West Africa as a jurisdiction when a company can come in, announce their construction decision, and within 2 years finish the build on time, on budget, and get it up and running operationally. To me, that says that West Africa is a pretty attractive place to build a mine, especially when I hear about troubles that other companies are having in other jurisdictions, which have traditionally been considered more favorable. I know you've spoken in the past that there is actually a very robust and high quality mining infrastructure in place in West Africa. And as you look to expand Seguela, and now you also have the Chesser acquisition in Senegal, that there's really a lot to be excited about when it comes to West Africa as a quality mining jurisdiction.
Yes, West Africa might sound far away and even exotic
Yeah.
to some investors, but it's a well-established mining jurisdiction.
Mhm.
In Fortuna, we are not a global player, but a regional player. So we are anchored in two regions, West Africa and the LATAM region. You will not see Fortuna run looking for opportunities in Nevada or Canada or Australia. Uh, we believe geographic focus is key, and we believe we are well anchored in these two regions that are well established mining regions.
Mhm.
So what you said is important. Yes, there are all these industry clusters that allow you to be efficient in delivering a project on time and budget. But even more important than that, West Africa is a place where you can go from a resource to production in under 5 years. Not many places in the world you can achieve that these days.
Mhm.
And that speaks not only about the industry clusters and pools of knowledge that you find well established in the West African sphere, um, but also the support that we get from our host governments. There is a consistent message on the part of authorities that precious metals mining in general, are key in their development strategy, and responsible mining is key, and they're very open to work with responsible miners in advancing their local industries, and that is so. And I'm not saying anything new. West
Mhm.
Africa has established itself as a premier mining jurisdiction over the last 20 years, right? So I don't think I'm saying anything really new for anybody who's been paying attention to mining for some time. Uh, Now, it has its challenges, absolutely. Compared to other places, you need to have some tolerance for political instability. Uh, no, security in some portions of West Africa is an issue. For example, the sub-Sahel, where you find Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, those countries have been through coups and are contesting with security issues. the more coastal countries in West Africa, like the Ivory Coast and Senegal, have more stability, and that's where we are based. But there are trade-offs here, right? And what I tell investors, shareholders is mining, Ron, has always been a frontier business. And that's how we view it. Mining has always been a frontier business. So we have to be comfortable with that. And yeah, so for us, it's a good place for business. And we're comfortable there. It's not many places you can go from discovery to production in under 5 years. Not many places in the world. And without compromising standards, right? That's also key. So the concept of responsible mining, we have adopted the global industry standard for tailings management. We rule our operations under the cyanide code, international cyanide code. We have robust human rights uh, policies in place, anti-corruption policies in place. I mean, all of that. We're a New York listed company, right? So we work hard to adhere to the highest standards, and it's not cutting corners when we say that you can go from discovery to development in under 5 years. Is that you have a willing partner that's anxious to work with you throughout the permitting process and expedite things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a shareholder in Fortuna Silver, have been for many years. When I think of the company, I think of quality on several levels, one of which is the quality of the management, the quality of the balance sheet. And you've accomplished growing the company since I've been around without compromising what I would say is a very strong, and some people may even say fortress balance sheet. And it feels like now with the Séguéla mine coming on board and the production that you'll get there, that you're in a position to start to harvest, as long as the metals prices agree with us. How are you looking strategically, let's say out into the next 1 to 2 years, that balance between kind of harvesting that growth and making investments for continued growth for the company?
First Mining Gold is a development company advancing 2 of the largest gold projects in Canada, Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet located in Quebec. Each already has 5 million ounces of gold reserves, but exploration initiatives are underway at both projects to find even more gold. First Mining is well financed, has 0 debt, and owns an interest in 4 additional Canadian gold development projects.
Yes, capital allocation for us is key, right? And particularly moving forward, because we expect to have this, as you pointed out, harvest time after, so our capital demands came down with the completion of the construction of Séguéla, and now the mine starts producing, right? And again, Séguéla is expected to contribute roughly 40% of our consolidated cash flow. So that mine alone is a significant cash flow generator. So what are we going to do with that cash? Although we are not a highly debt leveraged company, or debt to EBITDA hovers around 0.9. We have about $240 million in a credit facility. What you will see is Fortuna paying down that debt rapidly. That's a priority. Give ourselves utmost flexibility. So one is fortress balance sheet, maximum financial flexibility. That's key because in this industry, you don't have pricing power, right? The commodities move up and down and you move with that. So we will bring down our debt, and you will see that as a priority for capital allocation. Second is you'll see us opportunistic around the share buybacks. We believe we're deeply discounted against our peer companies and against our own assessment of value. So if you look at Fortuna in terms of price to cash flow multiples and compare our P2 cash flow against our peers, we're being deeply discounted. And that is probably a function that the Fortuna cash flows in 2023 are weighted towards the second half of the year, which is the third quarter we've been talking about, right? The third quarter being this first opportunity we have to really exhibit the renewed strength of the business. And last but not least, in terms of capital allocation, is exploration. We have a portfolio of high-value exploration opportunities in the portfolio at the Séguéla mine, at the Diamba Sud project in Senegal, at the Yessi vein in our mine in Mexico. And those are going to be priorities for exploration funding. So bring down debt, be opportunistic on share buybacks, return to shareholders, and then exploration funding. Those are the priorities.
Yeah, I've heard you mention, and other people mention in regards to Fortuna as well. You're certainly not a company that's lacking in really top quality exploration opportunities. That within the portfolio of properties you have right now, you have a lot to choose from regarding where you explore.
Well, having a diversified asset base gives us optionality, right?
Yeah.
I would, if I have to think about our 2024 exploration budget, you will see us allocating probably the bigger portions of that budget to Diamba Sud, which is the Senegalese project, to Séguéla, continuing exploring Séguéla. We're really getting a lot of success on the exploration front there. And then the Yessi vein in Mexico. I would say that. Now, having said that, we're always investing in exploration at all of our assets, Yaramoco, San Jose, Lindero, Cayoma, but there will be an accent in those three, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an exciting prospect as we look out into the coming quarter and even coming years for Fortuna. Is there anything I forgot to mention, Jorge, that you'd like to share with our viewers?
No, I just want to reiterate the relevance of the third quarter results. So look at our news flow. We usually pre-release production figures.
Mm-hmm.
And so, early October, so late next week, early the following, you should see a release of production figures for the quarter. And I think that's going to start setting the tone for the, financial results that come in the second week of November for the third quarter. And we are looking with a lot of anticipation at that because it will help us, convey the results. The 2023 is heavily weighted towards the second half of the year in terms of financial performance, production and financial performance.
Well, I can speak on behalf of all the investors. I think we're all looking forward to seeing what this third quarter brings and into 2024. I just really feel like you've positioned this company strategically from both a financial and from a production perspective to have a great period, as you like to say, a great period of harvest here, in the coming years. And if we look back at Fortuna's track record and your track record in terms of what's been accomplished, delivering on plans and promises, I think we've got some good things to look forward to down the road. Thank you, Jorge, on behalf of myself and everyone who's joined us today to get an update from you. It's always great, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Pleasure to join you here, Ron.